Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time from our headquarters, live with your domestic and international news in brief. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this hour. An announcement from the Ministry of Health. Agra Health Station rendering commendable services. On the international, India to pump billions into virus fight as Biden states vaccine target. A Milanian woman has given birth to 9 babies in what would be an extreme rare case, and more with Burkina Faso. Welcome to your domestic in brief. As your health report, 26 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers in Gashbarka, Central and Northern Red Sea region. Out of these, 8 patients are from quarantine centers in Ali Gidr 9, Ali Adibara 7, and Girmaika 2 in Gashbarka region. 6 patients are from quarantine centers in Asmara Central region. The last 2 patients are from quarantine centers in Massawa, Northern Red Sea region. On the other hand, 35 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in Gashbarka, 26 people, and Central 6 people, and Southern 3 people, regions have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients to date has accordingly risen to 3,538, while the number of deaths stands at 12. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has also increased to 3,707. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 5th May 2021. The health station built in Agra administrative areas providing commendable services according to the residents of the administration, as they stated. Speaking to Arena, the residents have indicated that satisfaction that the health station is providing general medical services, particularly on pre- and postnatal health care services. Nurse Yasin Ali, head of the health station, on his part stated that the health station provides vaccination programs as well as treatment of communicable and non-communicable diseases, and that members travel to remote areas to provide health care services and organize awareness-raising campaigns, indicating that no infrastructural maintenance activity have been conducted on the health station that was built in 1994. Nurse Yasin called on concerned institutions to act on the situation and install mobile telephone services to the station. Agra Health Station provides services to over 9,000 residents from 9 villages. And on your final domestic, about 300 members of the Athletics Federation in the Central Region conducted water and soil conservation activities. According to Mr. Abraham Yob, a member of the Agricultural Office in Asmara Subzone and its environs, the members of the Athletics Federation constructed half a hectare of terraces in Beit Gergis, indicating that construction of terraces and water diversion schemes is very significant for controlling soil erosion. Mr. Isaq Netzarab and Mr. Isas Safo, members of the Federation, commanded that strong participation the members demonstrated in the popular campaign. Up next with your international, do stay with us for more. And on your global report, India on Wednesday pledged billions of dollars to boost its flagging vaccine program. As President Joe Biden said, 70% of America's adults should have had at least one coronavirus shot by July 4th. With vaccine among the main weapons in the fight against this pandemic, pharma giant Pfizer reported a huge jump in profits based on sales of its COVID-19 shots as growing campaign called for patients waiver so poorer nations can get quicker access. Among the leaders of that campaign is India, which reported nearly 3,800 new deaths on Wednesday, a national record, and more than 380,000 fresh cases as it grapples with one of the world's worst outbreaks. From the Reserve Bank of India Governor Shakata Das, as he announced $6.7 billion in cheap financing for vaccine makers, hospitals and other health firms said that the devastating speed with which the virus affects different regions of the country has to be matched by swift and wide-ranging actions. Also, experts have warned that case numbers will keep rising until the end of May and could reach 500,000 new infections a day. India's underfunded health system has struggled to cope with this wave, with patients dying in hospital parking lots due to a lack of beds and medical oxygen. The government expanded its massive vaccination program to all adults last week, but many states are facing shortages. While New Delhi and other major cities have imposed curfews and other restrictions, the government has resisted opposition cells for a nationwide lockdown as it tries to avoid the economic turndown that accompanied such restrictions last year. However, vaccine shortages are not an issue in the United States, where President Joe Biden on Tuesday said he wanted 70% of American adults to have received at least one shot by the coming July 4th Independence Day holiday. Biden also said his administration was ready to move immediately if regulations and regulators authorize the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for 12 to 15 years of age. A woman by the name Halima Kays, age of 25, gave birth on Tuesday to 5 girls and 4 boys in a Moroccan hospital where she had been admitted. The Malian Health Minister Fanta Saibe, the deliveries reported. And the deliveries were done through a Caesarean section. Mrs. Kays had been expected to give birth to 7 babies based on the ultrasound scan done in Mali and Morocco that apparently did not dedicate the 2 extra babies born. On Tuesday, Dr. Sebe said that the newborns and the mother are all doing well. They are expected to return home in several weeks' time. So she congratulated the medical teams in Mali and Morocco, whose professionalism is at the origin of the happy outcome of this pregnancy, she quoted. Mrs. Casey's pregnancy has fascinated the West African nation and attracted the attention of its leaders, with authorities having flown her to Morocco when she needed specialist care, the Reuters news agency reports. A Moroccan health ministry spokesman, Rachid Koudari, told the AFP news agency that he had no knowledge of such a multiple birth happening in the country. Preceding attack in Kadoil village in Kamadandri province leaves at least 30 people dead, including children, after about 100 fighters entered on motorcycles and trucks. At least 30 people were killed by gunmen in eastern Burkina Faso as rebels burned down villagers' homes and shot them as they tried to escape. The attack occurred in Kadoil village in the Kamanjadri province on Monday near the border with Nigeria. Government officials Labadi Owaba told that the AFP news agency by phone after fleeing the attack. Owaba said that the rebel fighters surrounded the village and went house to house, setting fire to them and killing people. He also said that he ran early because the terrorists usually look for authorities and that they all pray that peace comes back now to their country. We are tired, he added. Another resident, Madempo Tadamba, who fled Monday's attack, said about 100 fighters entered the town on motorcycles and pickup trucks. 4 of his brother's children were killed. The attack comes exactly 1 week after the Spanish journalist and an Irish conservationists were killed, and a Burkinabe soldier went missing when their anti-poaching patrol was ambushed by rebels in the same region. The same day last week, 18 people were killed in Yatakuo village in the country's Sahel region. Burkina Faso's ill-equipped army has struggled to contain the spread of violence linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, who have killed thousands and displaced more than 1 million people. Last year, the government enlisted the help of volunteer militiamen to help the army, but they have incurred retaliation by the rebels who attack them and the communities they help. The rebels killed civilians on Monday because the village provided fighters to the volunteer program, said Hanai Nasabi, an analyst with the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. No group claims responsibility for the attack. However, last week UN agencies said that the worsening violence in the wider Sahel region has led to one of the world's most acute humanitarian crisis. 29 million people in Sahel region are in need of aid and protection, an all-time high, and 5 million more than last year, they said. On your final report, Syria gave no details on casualties, but said a civilian plastics factory was hit during the pre-dawn attack in Latakia. Syrian air defense have intercepted an Israeli attack on several areas in northwestern Syria, including the port city of Latakia, along with Mediterranean coast state media as they report. The Israeli dawn attack on Wednesday also hit the town of Haifa, east of Latakia, and Masyaf in Hama province. Earlier, state media had reported explosions near Latakia, which were heard by residents across the country and the city and its outskirts. The Israeli military did not immediately comment. However, Israeli rarely acknowledges individual raids and attacks. Syria gave no details on casualties, but said a civilian plastics factory was hit in Latakia city as that. Israel has escalated in recent months a so-called shadow war against Iranian-linked targets inside Syria, according to Western intelligence sources who say the raid are mainly aimed at research centers for weapon development and military convoy moving missiles from Lebanon to Syria. According to the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, the Israeli attack in Syria have already killed dozens of governments and allied fighters in recent months, but an attack by Israeli forces on several areas in Syria in January left 10 Syrian soldiers and at least 47 allied fighters dead. Iran's proxy militias, led by Lebanon's Hezbollah, now holds sway over vast areas in eastern, southern, and northwestern Syria, as well as several suburbs around Damascus. They also control Lebanese-Syrian border areas. Israel has said its goal is to end Tehran's military presence in Syria, which Western intelligence sources say has expanded in recent years. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news and brief. Until we are back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs. But until then, have a nice one.